In this video, we're going to look at how to measure productivity. Productivity is given by output over input. Okay. Output is how many units we are producing, and the denominator is what input is being used to produce that output. Now, the numerator need not always be units produced, especially if you're looking at several different products. Then you have to convert those production units into a common addable unit, which is mostly dollars. So you convert each production quantity into dollars and add them up. So the numerator can be units produced or total dollars of production. The same in the case of input. If you have only one input that you want to look at, then it can be units of the input. But if you have multiple inputs that you want to look at, then you have to convert those each input into dollar amount and add them up and use dollars in the denominator. Well, for us to use productivity as computed here, you have to calculate productivity over a period of time and compare. Okay, what was the productivity last month? What is the productivity now? Okay, what is the productivity last year compared to now? So it is a measure that is used by comparing productivity now with some other time, or it could be productivity across different companies. Suppose you want to measure your productivity against the industry leader. So again, you could do that and say, okay, you can set benchmark. You can use productivity benchmark. You can say our productivity is X now, and we want to improve productivity by 5% in the next 6 months. So you can set goals and try to achieve those productivity improvement goals. When you're looking at only one input in the denominator, then that kind of productivity is called single factor productivity. Okay, one resource input. Yeah. And the most important and most often cited single factor productivity is labor productivity. So you have units produced in the numerator, and remember this can be dollars or units, divided by labor hours used. Now labor productivity, the denominator is always labor hours. It is never converted into dollars. So it's always units produced or dollars produced per labor hour. So that is labor productivity. So if we produce 1000 units of the product and we use 250 hours of labor, then 4 units per labor hour. So that would be an example of labor productivity. Multi-factor productivity, on the other hand, is output in the numerator divided by a bunch of inputs. And remember, since these are not addable, like you cannot add labor hours with material used with the energy and so on, so you have to convert each input into dollar amount and then add them up. So this is called multi-factor productivity, multiple resource inputs. So let's look at another example. Suppose we have a title company that has 4 workers working 8 hours a day, and the payroll cost is $640 a day. And they have overhead of $400, and they produce 8 titles a day. So that's your current system. So our labor productivity will be 8 titles is the output, 4 workers working 8 hours a day is the input. So we have 8 output, 32 hours of labor gives us 0.25 titles per labor hour. Let's now assume that we have a new system in place and we are now able to produce 14 titles a day with the same workforce, but then the overhead now is double. It's not 400 anymore, it is 800. Okay. Now we're still looking at labor productivity, so the new labor productivity is now 14 titles divided by 32 hours, the same 4 workers 8 hours a day. So the labor productivity has increased by this amount. Now multi-factor productivity, now the numerator is the same. Okay, for the old systems 8 titles per day. Now the denominator is $640 of payroll cost and $400 of overhead cost. See, you cannot use 32 hours here, because 32 hours plus $400 doesn't make any sense at all. So you have to use the dollar amount for labor cost, and 400 gives you 0.0077 titles per dollar of these two inputs. This is a two input multi-factor productivity. So the denominator can be a basket of input that you're interested in, whatever your interest is. Now in the new system, the new multi-factor productivity will be 14 titles divided by 640 plus 800. So the increase in productivity is 0.002 per dollar amount. Now there are some problems in accurately measuring productivity. When we increase production, so you go from 8 titles to 14 titles, okay, are they comparable quality? Okay, maybe the quality has gone down, in which case the productivity improvement is not worth the increase in overhead. So there are other factors, external factors, that may affect increase or reduction in productivity, the raw materials and so on. So there are some measurements problems that you have to keep in mind. Now productivity variables, and the contribution of labor towards productivity improvement is about 10%. Now capital, here by capital what we mean is improvement in facilities, improvement in machinery, improvement automation, investment related, capital investment related productivity improvements, and you can achieve about, the contribution is roughly about 38% of the annual increase. Now the management practices, we're able to incorporate better management practices, policies, procedures. These can contribute up to 52% of the annual increase in productivity.